Michael Malice is our guest. He has traveled to North Korea repeatedly. He's written a best-selling book on the subject. And I look at Kim Jong-un and the incredible example it is that worshiping government, worshiping communism, worshiping the state is turning your will over to the very worst people in civilization, and always takes people from successful societies to hellish societies. And I just can't believe that. I've got an article on Infowars.com by Clifford Cunningham. California governor, U.S. should emulate communist China. I mean, Jerry Brown said that. They've got mobile execution vans in every city. They have had tens of millions of forced abortions. They kill little girls. They sell their body parts. They kill Buddhists. They kill Christians. But it's okay because Jerry Brown's liberal. And I just asked myself, how could South Korea, a quasi-free country compared to the North, be one of the highest gross domestic products in the world? I mean, my sister's adopted from Korea, amazing person. And then you look at the North, and it is a abject hell with this. Fiction couldn't make up it, the clown creature, like Kim Jong-un, strutting around like a hobbled Tyrannosaurus feeding on humanity. And now he threatens to nuke this country and threatens to nuke that country. And I've got articles here from CNN. Could Congress stop Trump from bombing North Korea? Like Trump gave the missiles and Trump gave the weapons. And it's not even defending Trump. It's just like if it rains, it's Trump's fault. If I slip on a banana peel, it's Trump's fault. And I see our media like cheerleading nuclear war because it might make Trump look bad. It's mental illness. So we couldn't have a better guest on than Michael Malice, best-selling author. He's written so many books I can't get into it all. Michael Malice on Twitter, michaelmalice.com. I always ask, you've been on a couple times, but I've always asked the questions. You're the expert. What do you want to tackle first? Just watching this spectacle, because I've got 4 children, and I'm just, it's like, you watch our media, you think Trump ran North Korea. You know, it's just, I mean, well, what do you, as a North Korean expert, take away from this?
What you hit the nail on the head, Alex. Watching the people in the press talk about how, well, Trump said there's a red line, and they're basically daring him not to have nuclear war with North Korea is absolutely mind-boggling and terrifying. Chuck Schumer made a comment. He goes, this kind of when Trump's responded to Kim Jong-un in similar language, he said, this reckless rhetoric isn't going to help matters. It's like, well, non-reckless rhetoric is what got us to this place to begin with. Chuck Schumer doesn't know what to do about North Korea. I don't blame him.
We've been appeasing since 1953. I mean, how long does this go on?
If you don't know what to do, his immediate reaction is to attack the president. This is not a partisan issue. If you have a hell on earth, as you correctly said, and they're acquiring nukes and threatening us, what's that have to do with Democrat versus Republican? I mean, the safety of the citizenry and actually caring about the North Korean people themselves, that shouldn't have anything to do with political parties.
In fact, I can't even believe it. Like, where's the instincts? I mean, I don't even believe this is happening.
Yeah, it's terrifying. See, they like to say Kim Jong-un is crazy, and he's a very, very evil man. But what's crazier is how people are bending, tripping over their own feet, desperate to get on TV, to make this as escalated as quickly as possible.
Exactly. That's why I've tried to de-escalate and point out, because it's like Trump's going to fail. He called his bluff. Oh, there's going to be nuclear war. I mean, it's like, it's crazy. I don't know. At this point, I have nothing to say. I finally, in 22 years on air, I have reached Michael Malice at a point where I don't know what to say anymore.
You got to get that fidget spinner out, Alex.
That's a viral video.
In all seriousness, North Korea, let's take a deep breath. During the Cold War, we had hundreds, if not thousands, of nuclear missiles pointing directly at us and our allies in Europe, right? And we worked through that and we lived through that. the fact that,
and whether you were Republican or Democrat, you
Right.
were an American.
yes, and now that they have nukes and they've been threatening us for decades. 2 years ago, they released a photo of Kim Jong-un in front of his computer, and behind him on the whiteboard, he was nuking Austin. My friend called me. They go, "Are they going to nuke Austin?" I go,
I remember
"Relax."
that 2 years ago. I live here, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, relax, you can still go to South by. It's going to be fine. So now that they've gone from Austin to Guam, people are like, well, we got to nuke them already. And you know what's even really scary? Watching a lot of these neoconservatives saying, well, if Kim Jong-un insulted us, we should just go in and bomb that country, the Stone Age. You're going to call yourself a moral authority and advocate killing 25 million slaves and hostages to show what a tough guy you are?
That's my next question. You've been there. You've written a best-selling book on it. I hate Kim Jong-un, but the poor people, it's like, what do we do? You've been there. I mean, these people are literally on another planet. What do we do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, there's no easy answer. The only thing we can do is put pressure on China, and China has started to buckle, which is a very good sign. It's easy for North Korea when it's us versus them, when it's the U.S. imperialists, as they call us, versus them. But now when you have the international community uniting, including their big brother China, that's a very different dynamic. And it's the better dynamic, because why is this our problem entirely?
And you're an expert on this. Let's talk about the North Korea-China relationship. Why has China been going along with this for 50 years?
China doesn't want a U.S. ally on their border. China doesn't want 25 million North Korean refugees crossing the river and living in China when they have nothing to offer. And China basically doesn't no one wants a collapsed state on their border that they have to basically deal with the problem. So, they have to give them some amount of cover. But at the same time, China, who's trying to carry themselves as a gentleman on the world stage, they don't want to defend some college kid goes there as a tourist and comes back in a coma. So
China's the ones with Foxconn suicide nets.
Yeah, but China has put pressure on North Korea successfully in the past. North Korea for decades fought having North and South in the UN because they said this is going to make deunification.
So let me ask you this. Are we closer to midnight than ever? Because most experts I talk to say there's nuclear war. It's going to start in North Korea, not the Middle East, not in Ukraine, not on the border of Russia. What do you think from the experts you talk to? Because you're all over the place talking to top experts. Right. How serious is this? I got 4 children. I want to know.
I think your kids are fine. Your kids are safe. North Korea, in their literature, constantly talk about the fact we know we can't win. They say this explicitly. So they're not, listen, everyone talks about how he's crazy and suicidal. He's satanic, like you said. If he's suicidal, they've been around for 70 years. That's taken a long time to kill yourself, huh?
I'm going to play a clip from Fox News. They talk about the relationship between China and North Korea. Let's play that clip.
Well, there's very good news, and that's that the UN Security Council voted 15-0 to impose tougher sanctions on North Korea. The bad news is that they won't make any difference whatsoever, because China has mastered the art of giving us showing just enough leg to keep us from imposing any kind of economic sanctions on them. China literally gets away with trade murder because they keep dangling this possibility that they'll help us North Korea. Now, China, on this 15-0 vote, yeah, that sounds great, but we didn't get the sanctions we wanted. We wanted tougher sanctions, but for China to come on board, they watered them down. And there are 2 reasons for it. One's the macro reason. China regards North Korea as a critically valuable ally in peace and war. The second micro region or economic reason is that China's steel industry is a great international weapon, whether you consider the prices dumping or not. It's a big plus for China. Well, China doesn't have the right coal. It has soft coal. North Korea, one of the few things it has is high-quality anthracite coal that goes into coking furnaces for Chinese steel. So there are all these backstories here that we're not paying attention to.
So, Michael Malice, you've been to North Korea, you've written a book on it. Is that accurate, or what do you say to that?
It's inaccurate. We could just do the math right now. China has, 1 billion people? North Korea has 25 million. So if China went to some military conflict, to call them a critically important ally is simply false. North Korea is not going to be able to help them one way or another.
North Korea can't produce automobiles.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't do anything. They have like a toddling mental patient as their leader.
Right. And the other point is, I mean, sanctions aren't going to work. He said we wanted stronger sanctions. Sanctions aren't going to work because the leadership just going to pass the buck to the citizenry. The citizenry are going to suffer. The only way that sanctions work, in a sense, is creating this air of unanimity in the international community against North Korea. But in terms of functionally, I mean, it's an economic hellhole. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this, Michael Malice. We're going to go to break, come back and answer this question because, again, you're a best-selling author, leading researcher on this. What do we do then? Because I've got children, people got children. This just goes on in the future. There's this cartoon land that the left makes a joke out of, but it's real people in slave camps. Where does this go with missiles and atomic weapons? And the Clintons gave them the weapons, and then they're blaming Trump. I'm not even defending Trump. I'm defending reality. Why do you blame Trump for what the globalists did? And it's just like, where does this go? Why doesn't the guy do a business deal? Why doesn't he back off? Why does he want to be a communist dirtbag? After 4 years of research, the next big game changer has arrived. Z-Shield, toxic metal and chemical defense support. It's made in the USA. It's filled with known compounds from nature that are absolutely associated with detoxifying the body, and it supports the InfoWar. It is a classical 360 win. We're changing the world. Now it's time to change our bodies with Z-Shield at InfoWarsLife.com. We have our guest, Michael Malice, best-selling author, MichaelMalice.com, dealing with North Korea. I mean, I just sit here watching this crazy town go on, and I get our government's not perfect. It's got problems, military-industrial complex. Okay, it wants to sell weapons. I get all that, but I watch stuff that looks beyond anything and from a hallucination with a crazy dictator strutting around, threatening to nuke everybody. And then last week, Trump's like, okay, let's negotiate. I'll nuke you. I'll blow you up. And it's like, we already dropped atomic bombs on Japan 70 years or 65 years ago, whatever it was. It's like, is there some end to this? Because I don't want war, but at a spider sense level. Michael, I just am really concerned. How dangerous is this?
Anytime you have someone in the country that defies the international law, international rogue nation, there's a little bit of danger. However, we do have to realize that they are interested in self-preservation. This regime has held on to power at all costs, including the cost of the lives of the citizenry. So the idea that they're going to go down without a fight, as opposed to using nuclear weapons as a great negotiating tactic and basically make the rest of the world their hostages, is a very different situation.
Elaborate, though, on your main points about North Korea, because you're an expert on it. I mean, what should we know about the spirit of North Korea?
Well, Alex, you touched on it earlier. They have something called the monolithic ideological system, by which they mean everyone in the country thinks the same way and thinks in line with the leader. So they boast about the fact that there's no independent thought in the entire country, that it's the leader, which is a human being, that kid, like you said, who gives the people their political, spiritual life, and that without the leader, basically no one would exist. So it's a very dark quasi-religion that they push on their people. And again, when you're this demigod at the head of a country and you're effectively a billionaire, what would it take for you to, quit your job? It's going to take a lot, and it's going to take a combination of threats and rewards. And Kim Jong-un doesn't want to go the way of Gaddafi or Saddam Hussein.
What are the scenarios for war with North Korea? I mean, if it happens, have you looked at the scenarios?
Yeah, they're all nightmarish. I mean, Seoul, has tens of millions of people just south of the border between North and South Korea. Even if they didn't have nukes, the idea of these huge missiles hitting a city of skyscrapers is a visual nightmare to begin with. They have the deepest subterranean subway system on Earth, so they've been preparing for nuclear war since the 40s. The people are trained, constantly what to do in case what they call the U.S. imperialists invade. I mean, you have school children waiting outside in the middle of the night outside the libraries looking for American spies. So they've been preparing for this for decades. They're taught that we're going to come back and finish the job we started in the Korean War. A lot of these people are willing to lay down their lives. It has the fourth biggest army in the world. So, yeah, maybe some strikes would be very quick, but the retaliation capabilities, we'd have to make sure we take out everything at once. And that's a very, very big risk.
How is North Korea not an advertisement against communism and big government?
I think this is why I wrote my book, because not only is it North Korea, look at Venezuela, what's happening right now. They took this crown jewel of South America. I visited when I was a kid, Caracas. It was beautiful. And they turned it into another hell on earth where, people who are from the opposition party are being jailed, people being shot when they protest. I mean, we're watching it happen in real time, and no one knows what to do about that either. And there's not enough attention going on there. So it's the fact that it's happening again is very, very scary to me, especially as someone who was born in the Soviet Union.
Let's come back into a few minutes on your experience in the Soviet Union, because that's a good comparison. But I don't understand. The left kind of celebrates Venezuela or North Korea. They get off on it. It's like an existential power, or living vicariously through these orgies of government insanity and wantonness. And I point out, hey, England has really bad health care. They come here, or Canada does, and that's a tame comparison to North Korea. They go, screw you, racist. It's free in England. And it's just like, there's not a real reality-based system, and then spoiled brats living in the West bitch and say they want to be teleported to North Korea. So I say, let's move the 10 million Muslim migrants they brought to Europe the last 5 years to North Korea. Would they fix North Korea? We'll come right back with that information. Of the 30-plus proprietary products that we've developed for InfoWarsLife.com, DNA Force is the flagship. This highly advanced formula has been sold out for close to 6 months due to a worldwide shortage of the sought-after ingredients. Today, I'm very excited to announce that we have received a limited shipment of DNA Force, and despite the fact that we have been sold out for close to 6 months, I'm still discounting it 20% because I want listeners and viewers that haven't tried DNA Force yet to actually get a chance to see how amazing it is. You can't lose when you support the InfoWar and get great products at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA Force is back in stock. You can get an additional 10% off when you sign up for auto ship, and you can cancel anytime. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. And again, thank you for making the InfoWar possible. You are the InfoWar.